Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, where we have an opportunity to go through the recipient training session in Amplifund for the 2020 CCCFF Awards. It's very exciting to have you all join. Appreciate you all making the time today. And like I said, it's very exciting as we get to move from the application stage into the award stage. As many of you already know, we're utilizing Amplifund to capture all applicant data as well as award-related data. So what we wanted to do today is, now that we're moving on to the award stage and you'll all be managing awards in Amplifund, we wanted to go through a couple of basics about your interaction with Amplifund in terms of being able to log in and see CCCFF award details. And also we wanted to talk a little bit about some basic actions that your program rep at DED is going to want you to take once you get an email notification inviting you into Amplifund to view your award. So that is on the agenda for today. We're going to be going through a slideshow talking about some of those concepts and some of the basic navigation and action items that we want to walk you through today. This is going to be recorded, and there will be a follow-up email sent out with this recording and also some help documentation as well. So the format of today's session is going to be, the first part will take place with some PowerPoint slides. The PowerPoint slides are also going to be a great resource for you guys, as they have some step-by-step instructions as well in how to complete some of the different tasks. But we're going to go through a high-level overview of some of the basic navigation and action items that you'll be completing within the system. And then we'll also be going through an in-product demonstration where we'll actually be able to interact and we'll actually be able to see how it works. So, so that is the plan for today. My name is Daniel Holtz. I'll be walking everyone through today's session and answering any questions. And before I get started, I wanted to introduce one of my colleagues that's going to be helping me with the chat today.
Hello, everyone. My name is Pilar Martinez, and I'll be managing the chat today. So if you have any questions, please feel free to submit those. You'll find the chat function at the bottom of your screen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pilar. As Pilar mentioned, you do have the ability to submit questions via chat. I would encourage you to submit those as you have questions throughout the presentation, and Pilar and I will address them. We're also going to have time at the end of today's session for a Q&A. So any questions you didn't get a chance to ask during the session or you didn't think of, we'll also leave some time in order to give you an opportunity to think of some questions and submit those to us so we can get those answered for you. So the agenda for today is, I want to talk about some basic Amplifund navigation. Some of you may be used to interacting with your application in what we call our applicant portal, where you're going to be looking at your award is going to look a little bit different to you. So I want to talk about how to navigate there and show you where the things are that you need to access. Now that you are actually managing an award, you may want to be bringing in other individuals in your organization into your Amplifund account to view those details or to look at some documents. So I'm going to talk about how to add different users into your Amplifund account. I'm going to show you where you can access and edit your award that you're getting from the Department of Economic Development. And we're going to focus then on the two main tasks that we're going to want you to complete once you're invited in to view your award, which is going to be accessing your contract, uploading a signed version of that contract into the system, and then you'll also be able to submit your initial drawdown request through the system to your program rep at DED as well. And then, as I mentioned, there's going to be time to talk about question and answer, and I'm going to go through all the support options that you have available to you, Amplifund support, as well as our support site and support site on the Nebraska DED website. So to get started off, congratulations. You've been approved for your 2020 CCCFF award. Soon you'll be receiving a notification from Amplifund in your inbox that will look similar to what I have here on the screen, just notifying you that the status has changed. You'll then get another email when your award is ready to be viewed, and it'll provide you with a link where you can access Amplifund and log in, and it'll also give you an option if you're a new user of where to click to log in as well. So everything that we're going to go through today, you'll be able to see and do yourself once you receive that email indicating that your award has been activated in Amplifund. But we definitely wanted to start off with a note of congratulations for making it through the application process and moving on to this stage. So once you do receive those emails and you gain access into your award within Amplifund, you're going to have to do some, you're going to have to learn how to do some navigation within the system. And the Amplifund interface that you're going to be looking at is a little bit different than what you're used to in the applicant portal. And it's a little bit more robust because there's more to it in terms of being able to view your award and being able to access different things relating to your award. So one of the unique things about Amplifund is that I mentioned, you'll be uploading your contract into the system. You'll be submitting a drawdown request. You're able to interact with your program rep at DED via Amplifund. So as you're going through and you're watching the demonstration today, when you upload a document, Jenny Mason at DED is going to have the ability to view that document. When you submit your drawdown request, that program rep is going to have the ability to see that drawdown request. So the actions that we're taking within the system are unique and allow you to interact and communicate with your program rep at DED. When you're in Amplifund for the first time, there's going to be three main pieces of navigation that we want to draw your attention to, and they're outlined here on this slide. The first one is the left navigation menu. This is how you're going to be navigating to the different areas throughout your Amplifund account. It is on the left side of your screen, and it is static. It'll show up on every page. So whenever you want to navigate to a different section, if you want to go from documents to your grant management section, then you'll just utilize that left navigation menu on your screen. You'll also notice that there's a little arrow. So if you're ever looking at something on your screen and you want to make it a little bit larger, you'll be able to minimize, to collapse, and expand that left navigation menu. But that is going to stay with you on every page, and you'll be able to access the different items through there. Number two on this slide is your user navigation. So this is going to allow you to, you'll see your name at the top right-hand corner. You'll be able to change your password, view basic account information. You'll be able to log out. You'll also be able to access your application or any other applications that you may be working on for other DED programs via your user drop-down menu. So we'll take a look at some of those options as well. And then the number three on the screen is your icon toolbar, which is always going to display certain icons that are going to allow us to do different things, perform different functions. And the icon toolbar is on every page. However, the icons may vary depending on the page that we are. So once you're logged in to Amplifund, and now that we're moving into the administrative part, one of the things that I mentioned you may want to do is you may want to start to involve other individuals in your account. So you'll be added, and then if you want to bring in someone else that maybe needs to review something, look at the award, you want to indicate that that person is a recipient, is a grant manager, or you need to provide them with access, then you'll be able to create those individuals as users. You have unlimited users in your account, so feel free to create as many individuals as you need, but keep in mind that these individuals will be able to access the award information in Amplifund. So you'll be able to create these users by accessing the left navigation menu. You'll have a section called administration. You'll be able to scroll to users. And then, and you'll be able to click to create a user. You just need some basic information. You need the person's first name, last name, and email address. If you're thinking about, and if you were involved in the application process, and if you registered within the applicant portal, then it's similar to some of the basic information you have to put in is similar to what you had to enter to register in the applicant portal for other individuals. And I will mention that if you were the person that registered in the applicant portal and applied, then you'll be able to use your credentials that you logged in with in the applicant portal. You will not have to go through the registration process over again. And when we get into the in-product portion of today's session, we're actually gonna walk through and live do an example of how to create a user. We're gonna do that for all of these. So in addition to creating users, you're gonna want to view and edit your award. So there's not gonna be a whole lot of detail that you're gonna be able to edit on the main award page, but you're gonna wanna be able to view the award page to see basic details, the amount that you were awarded, the amount of cash match that you were awarded as well. And you'll also be able to see some important dates, like you'll be able to see the start and the end date of the award. So that's always very important to note in terms of some things that you'll be able to see on the screen. So in order to get there, there's on the left navigation menu, there's a section called Grant Management. You'll be able to view your grant or your award in that section by clicking on the name, and you'll be able to review and view the details there. So that is where your grant is going to be housed, is going to be stored in the system, and that's where you'll be able to access that information. Once you are within your award and with it, when you're viewing it, you're going to have a lot of different menus, a lot of different options. I mentioned that one of the main tasks, one of the main action items that we're going to want you to complete right away is to access your contract via the documents folder. We're going to want you to click on that contract, view it, download it, sign it, and then upload the signed version back into the documents folder. So this slide kind of walks through the step-by-step on how to upload, how to access and how to upload that information in there. As I mentioned previously, you'll also be receiving a step-by-step user guide that'll help you and that'll walk you through those steps where you can upload your signed contract as well as your EFT form that you'll need to be providing as well. And you'll see that when you're on the award, when you're on the grant page itself, you'll see that within the tools drop-down menu, there's a section called documents, and that's where you'll be able to access that information. So in addition to uploading those crucial documents, the other thing that you'll be accomplishing through Amplifund is the submission of a drawdown request. That initial drawdown that you'll be receiving, the submission for this is going to take place within the system. So we'll show you how to navigate there and how to fill out some basic information, the amount that you're requesting, and how to submit that information to your program rep at DED. So there's going to be a place for you to navigate to. I will mention, and you can see this note that I've included on this slide here, just a terminology distinction that I want to make in terms of Amplifund and maybe some of the terminology that everyone's used to. In Amplifund, drawdown requests are referred to as payment requests. So as you're navigating, you'll commonly find these called payment requests. So I wanted to establish that right now to try to avoid any confusion as I'm walking through the demo. And we've successfully made it through the slide portion, which means that now I'm going to transition my screen over and we're actually going to open up Amplifund and we're going to take a look at an example of how to do all of the different things that I just mentioned in Amplifund. to help you get accustomed to and to look at the user interface that you'll be interacting with. So I'm going to switch my screen over. And as I'm switching my screen over, if anyone has any questions, again, feel free to submit those into the chat feature. We'd be more than happy to answer any of those questions. All right, so as I mentioned, when your award is ready to be viewed in Amplifund, you'll be receiving an email very similar to this. This is just an email that we created to show you an example. It's not real. And it'll give you some information about the length of award. It'll give you some information here and a link that allows you to log in to see the details of your award. So as I mentioned before, if you've already registered within the applicant portal, you'll be able to just click here and log right in using your same credentials. And if this is for somebody that has never used Amplifund before, you'll be able to click this link and you'll be able to establish a username and password as well. So this is going to be an example of the email that you'll be receiving. Once you do click on the link to log in, this is the page that you'll be brought to. This calendar will show you any tasks, any events that you can create for yourself, or maybe that are being pushed down and submitted to you by DED. So you'll be able to interact with some important dates here on this calendar. I do want to talk about some of the basic navigation. Like I mentioned before, we have our left navigation menu, which each one of these sections provides different elements, different aspects of your account that you can gain access into. I know a lot of this is not going to be pertinent to us just yet. Today, we're going to focus on these areas of the left navigation menu that you do need to interact with to get started. And like I mentioned, if you ever wanted to see a larger view of your screen, the left navigation menu will never leave you, but you can kind of hide it and just see an icon view here if you wanted to get a larger view of whatever's going on your screen. So left navigation menu takes you back and forth really anywhere you want to go within Amplifund. You also have your user drop-down menu. So if I click my user drop-down menu, I can see I have account information, I can change my password, I can get access to help and support, which I'll mention here in a little bit. You'll see your terms and conditions, and you'll be able to log out as well. And then finally, our icon toolbar is always going to be located in the top right-hand corner. Now, depending on what page we're on, the icons may vary. However, if you ever have any questions or if you're ever not sure about what these icons mean, you can always hover your mouse over the icon and it'll explain to you what it does. So if I wasn't sure that this was a printer button, then I would just hover my mouse over it and it notifies me. Now, one thing that I do want to mention even before we get started on how to create users and how to view your award is one of the icons that's always going to be available here in the icon toolbar is the help and support icon. So you can access help and support options through the icon toolbar or through your user dropdown as well. And by clicking on either one of those options, it'll create a pop-up for you, which provides you with two different options for reaching out to support. Number one is it gives you a link to our support site. So our support site is going to have some good information for you. There's some specific information for those that are receiving awards that you'll be able to see in terms of guides, some video tutorials, So you'll be able to click here and you'll be able to register for the Amplifund support site. I have some registration instructions that I'll share with you as well. Once you registered, then you'll have access to the Amplifund support site, which gives you access to user guides, other step-by-step instructions. It has this search bar. So if you're a recipient and you're looking for some instructions on your recipient award, then you can just start typing something in there and I can see here's my user guide. Also, the slides that we're going to be sending to you is going to have a list of the different documentation that pertains to you that you'll be able to find here within the support site. So one of the other things that you'll be able to do within our support site is if you have a question, if you're coming across something that you're not sure what it means, you'll be able to submit a support ticket. And actually submitting a support ticket is the second option that's also available here one in that eye icon that I clicked on. So if you're ever in Amplifund, you have a question, you're not sure what something does, or you're not sure if something's working right, then you can reach out to our customer support team. Our hours are 7 a.m. through 7 p.m. Central Time. We have a turnaround time on these support tickets of 2 hours. And you'll be able to send those with a subject and a description. So, you know, maybe if you're having trouble locating or uploading a document, you can put that in the subject, put in a description of exactly what you're doing. If you want to attach any screenshots or anything, you're more than welcome to. And you can go ahead and submit that. And one of the Amplifund customer support representatives will be reaching out to you to troubleshoot your issue. So you have a couple of different options that are available in terms of help and support here. So now that we've learned some of the basics of navigation and how to interact with some of the different areas, I want to talk and start focusing on some of the specific points that you'll be interacting with, especially once you receive that initial activation email. So one of the first things you may want to do is you may realize that you want other individuals within your organization to access your award or to be able to view those documents that I'm talking about, upload documents, anyone else that needs to be involved, that needs to be added to your account. You'll be able to do that here through the administration section, and you'll be able to create what is called a user. So if you go into the administration section and click on the drop down next to system security and click on users, then you can begin the process of adding different individuals, different users in your organization to your Amplifund account. So anytime you click on users, you'll see a list of any existing users that are already here. I can go ahead and in my icon toolbar, I have this plus sign, and this plus sign is going to allow me to create a new user. So if I want to create somebody new in my organization, I'm going to click on that plus sign, and it's going to bring me to my create user page. The options that I have available to me here are some options regarding the email and Amplifund notification preferences. Now you have two options where a user can be subscribed to either daily emails or weekly emails. Now, just to clarify, these emails refer to any automated notification or any task that might come through Amplifund itself. So if there's something that's assigned to you and you're scheduled to receive a reminder through Amplifund, then that's what we refer to as a daily email. Just because you're subscribed to daily emails doesn't mean that Amplifund's going to send you some spam emails or some emails every day. You're only going to get emails on the day that something is either assigned to you or the day that something is due or the day that someone designated you to receive a reminder. If you subscribe to weekly emails only and not daily emails, then you'll receive one email at the beginning of the week that has all of the upcoming tasks and reminders for that following week. So keep that in mind, that these are your email preferences. I would recommend leaving both of these on. It'll just help you get the reminders whenever you're assigned to them, and it'll make sure you don't miss anything. Like I said, you won't be bombarded or spammed with a ton of reminders, just the few specific ones that you'll be receiving when different actions are taken. A good example of one of the emails you will want to be notified of is later today, we're going to be going through the process of submitting a drawdown request. So once those are approved, or if they need to be rejected and edited, you'll be receiving notification that DED has approved your drawdown requests. The next thing here is applicant portal access. So I would also recommend checking this.
Oh my God, yeah. Okay.
So I would also recommend checking this box only if you want to provide access to individuals in your organization to see other applications or the actual application that you applied for. For many of you that are involved with or that were part of the application process, you're familiar with the Amplifund applicant portal. And you know that your application is stored there. If you're applying for other opportunities within the DED, you'll be able to access them through the applicant portal. If you don't want these individuals that you're bringing in to be part of the application process, then I would leave this box unchecked. And then the next thing you'll be able to do here is you'll be able to select a role, a security role. So the different roles come with different levels of permission. Organizational admin is our highest level of security. There's a breakdown of the different security levels. We also have an executive security role, which means it's view only. So an organizational admin can view, create, edit, and delete anything. An executive can see everything, but they can't do anything. And then these users that we're seeing here are users that are assigned just to a specific grant, for example, and they can only see specific pieces of information. I think the main role that we're going to want to give to everybody is going to be organizational admin, but there is some documentation and some guidance on what the different roles do and how to set those up. They can get kind of complex, but I would recommend, at least definitely for this group that's part of the training today, absolutely the role of organizational admin. And then in order to actually create a user, there's a lot of different fields here that we can populate, but there's only 3 required fields that we have to populate. We need a first name, we need a last name, and we need an email address. So in order to successfully create a user, I need all 3 of those things. There's all this other information that you can fill in that's optional. However, just to get somebody added, we need a first, last, and an email address. So I'll just type in a person here and I'll put in an email address that I have. First name, last name, and email address. When you have all the required fields populated, then you'll be able to create your user by clicking the create button. You'll get the success message, which is excellent. But now there's an additional step. Just because we've created a user doesn't mean this person automatically has access into Amplifund. There's a secondary step that's required in which we have to actually invite this user into Amplifund. So there's a couple of different ways we can do that. Upon creation, I can just go to my icon toolbar and there's this envelope icon and I can send this user an invitation. So now I've sent this user an invitation. If you want to add multiple users and you want to invite them all at the same time, then you can toggle into your user list under administration, system security, and users. And when you're looking at your general list here, you'll be able to click the invite to Amplifund, the envelope icon, and you'll be able to send invitations in batch. So if you want to add a lot of users and if you want to wait until you actually invite them in and get them in the system, then you'll be able to invite them all in batch. Now, one of the great features about this user section is you'll be able to see who's actually been sent an invitation and who hasn't. So that's really useful there. You'll also be able to see and control and view if the person is logged in yet. So if you're giving somebody a specific assignment, then you'll be able to see if that person has been invited in and if they've been able to log into the system. So that is the user creation process. Again, you'll be receiving some specific guidance and documentation on how to complete the user setup process. So now that we know how to create users, there's a couple other things that I wanted to show us, and that is the actual award itself. I know you guys are going to be anxious to get in here and to see your award and see some of the different details and access the document that you need to access in terms of looking at those awards. So the first thing that I want to do is show you where those awards are. Again, we're going to utilize our left navigation menu. So we can see the grant management section and grants. That is going to be where you'll be able to access your award. So if you click grant management grants, then you'll see your CCCFF award here. So when you look at your award, you'll see the name of the award as it's been given to you. You'll see some basic details of where of the funding source. You'll see the total awarded amount and some other basic information regarding your awards. Again, I'm not using any one specific award. This is a test account and a test award that I've created to replicate and to show what this is going to look like. So you can click on the name of the award, and here you'll be able to see some basic details of the award itself, like the total awarded amount. You'll be able to see the name of the award. There's a lot of details related to financials that probably won't populate just yet because you've just gotten this award. So there's really nothing to report here as of yet, but you'll be able to see your grant funded amount and any match that's part of it as well. You'll see some basic award information like who is the responsible person and the grant manager on the DED side. You'll be able to see your award ID number, your contract number, some specific and some key dates that are going to be included here as well. And now one of the things that you'll also be able to do is there's a field here for recipient grant manager. So there's not a whole lot that you can edit on this page because this award was made by DED. So you can't just go in and edit everything, but you will be able to edit this page by going up into the top right-hand corner and clicking on the pencil icon, and then you'll be able to add a recipient grant manager. So once you've added a different user, or if you yourself are the grant manager, you'll be able to add yourself to this label here, to this field, by clicking on the edit button. Other pieces of information that you'll be able to see are budget information. So you'll be able to see what your awarded amount is, any cash match, any in-kind that's also included, and the total budget information. There is an amendment process that's here. We're not going to touch upon this today. There's a lot of things that you'll probably find if you do explore the different pieces of functionality, but really the only thing that's required, the only thing that we have to do as of right now are the next couple of steps that I'm going to show you, which is the accessing documents and submitting the drawdown request. So there's a lot of different options and a lot of different ways to communicate with DED, but really right now we're just focused on those first two steps that we have to perform in order to provide the correct information to DED. So I did mention that we're going to have to view the contract in our documents folder here, and then look at the contract, sign it, and then upload it with the EFT forms as well. And you'll be able to access those documents here in the Tools drop-down menu, Tools, Documents. So if I click here, it's going to bring me to my documents folder for this particular award. Now, one of the great things about the documents folder is you're going to be able to view any documents that DED is sharing with you, and you'll also be able to upload documents here and share that with DED. So when you click on that documents folder, the first thing you're going to see here is you're going to see what's called a public folder, and that's where you're going to want to put all the documents that you're sharing with DED. And that's where you'll be able to access any documents that DED shares with you. You'll also be able to just add folders and add documents here that maybe you want to keep for your own internal purposes. This is your documents folder, so if you need to keep any records in here, if you need to keep track of any documentation, feel free to create a new folder or upload a document by going up to the icon toolbar and clicking either the button that allows you to upload documents or to create a new document folder. Now, in order to see what's actually in the folder, what the contract that DED has provided to you, you will want to click on this public folder that you'll see when you first access the document section. So if I click on the public folder, then you'll be seeing your contract here, and you'll be able to click on the name of your contract. You'll also be able to click this button to just download it directly. So you'll be able to click on it here, and then depending on what browser you use, it may open up a window, or if you're using Chrome like I am, it'll just kind of pop up here at the bottom, and you'll be able to see that doc. You'll be able to click on it and open it up. So you'll be able to open up that doc. You'll see it here. You'll be able to view your contract. You can print it, you can sign it, and then when you're ready to upload your document back here, then you can go to your upload documents in the icon toolbar here in the top right-hand corner. Click upload, go to choose file. It's going to open up this browser here, and then you can choose whatever the name of your contract is, whatever the name of your document is that you want uploaded, and you can upload the contract back for DED to view. Now, you'll also want to see anything that's, you'll also want to be uploading documents that are pertinent to the EFT forms. So to do that, you can upload more documents. Just again, go back here, click upload documents, click on choose file, navigate in your document folder here to whatever it is you want to see, and you'll be able to upload that. And anything you upload, again, anything you upload here in the public folder will be available to your program rep at DED. So keep in mind that anything you upload there, your program rep at DED will be able to see that. So that's our first action item that we want to complete. We want to be able to upload documents. We want to be able to share those documents with the contract and the EFT with DED. Now, the other thing that we want to do is we want to generate that initial drawdown request and submit that to DED as well. So in order to access our drawdown request, we're going to go here in our post-award menu, and I'm going to move down to the cash flow section, and there's something here called payment request. So I already mentioned that little distinction in terminology here. Whenever you see Amplifund, whenever you see payment request, it is referring to the drawdown request that you have to submit. And the documentation that you'll be provided is pretty clear and explicit when it comes to that as well. So you go to the payment request section, and you go into your icon toolbar. You're probably noticing a pattern at this point that in order to add new objects, new details, new pages, new whatever, you're going to find the plus sign. That's pretty universal across Amplifund in terms of being able to create something. So I'm going to go ahead here and click on the plus sign to create. And we can start filling out our drawdown request. So it's going to ask us first, there's some required fields that we have to populate. So we have to give this a name. You can call it like your initial drawdown request. You can put in your award name if you want in your organization, even though that's already going to be attached to this information. I would put initial drawdown request here. You're able to indicate the date that you're submitting this. So we're at April 1st. And then here under payment type, you want to indicate that it's an advance payment type. So focusing on these in this first section here, these 3 fields, very important to fill out accurately, and making sure that this payment type here is changed to advanced, because that's what it is. Now, if you scroll down, you'll be able to enter in this last part here, the requested amount. So this is, from what I understand, going to be, I think, half of the amount up front. Whatever the amount is, you'll be putting it here in the requested amount. So when DED receives this, then they'll see, you know, the total amount that you're requesting for this initial drawdown request over here. So I'll just put in the total amount because we can't submit it without that. And you can add in any comments that you want here. So, you know, you can provide anything. These comments will be visible to your program rep at DED. So if you go ahead and you want to just create this and maybe come back to it later, you can go ahead and click create, and this saves it. If you're actually ready to submit this to DED, then you go and you can click on the submit button. You're going to get a reminder here. You're going to get a little note indicating that, you know, once you submit this, you can't make changes to it. And once you submit this, it will be received and viewable by DED. So it'll give you this. It'll allow you to verify that or validate that. Go ahead and click on submit. Once you click submit, Jenny will receive an email that you've submitted your request for drawdown. It'll be date and time stamped, so all that information will be tracked here. And then Jenny will be able to log in. She'll be able to view it. She'll be able to go through the process on their end of approving everything. And then once everything is approved, then you'll receive an email saying that it's been approved. If maybe something needs to be fixed, then she'll be able to reject it. You'll get an email saying that that the payment request has been rejected, and you'll be able to make whatever change Jenny recommends upon that rejection. So, and you'll always be able to see here payment request history. You'll always be able to see an audit trail of the date and every action. So once that gets approved, part of the audit trail will say here whatever date Jenny Mason approved or rejected payment request. You'll also be able to go in your icon toolbar, and you'll be able to export this as a PDF. And as you probably noticed throughout Amplifund, you'll have the ability to print any one of these screens as well. So those are all of the steps that that we can take in order to submit that initial drawdown request. At this time, I've concluded going through our in-product portion. I'm going to switch back into the slides. I do have some slides to wrap up, but I also want to take a pause, and if anybody has any questions that they want to submit via that chat feature, I'll mute myself and you can start using the chat button, and feel free to submit any questions and we can address those right now. So we'll be back on as soon as we have some questions, and feel free to start submitting any questions you may have right now. Pilar and I are monitoring the chat, and we'll be able to answer anything that comes our way. All right, got a couple of questions that came in. So the slides for today will be available and will be sent to you along with this recording. So you will have these at your disposal to kind of guide you through the process of everything you have to do. You'll also have the ability to access some user documentation and some user guides. So I'll show you where you have to do that as well. We also had a question about the average wait for a reply to a support call. So again, when it comes to submitting support requests, I would recommend submitting those support tickets. Those are usually answered the quickest. We have a maximum 2-hour turnaround time on those support requests. It's usually a lot quicker than 2 hours where we get to those and answer those questions. And the support hours are Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time. So there's a question about on those payment requests when we indicate that it's an advanced payment request type. The reimbursement payment requests are for when we're actually reporting in expenses and we want to be reimbursed for specific dollar amounts that we have expended upon the project. So because of the nature of this initial drawdown request, that's why advance is what we should be selecting, because that is the most apt scenario for, that's the apt selection for this initial scenario. So we had some other questions too that weren't specific to some of the Amplify functionality, but more some of the program related questions. And I can just list those off and we can get answers to those questions accordingly. So and I'm sorry for the confusion. Those questions will be addressed via the chat. And if there's any other questions, we still have time. I'm going to, I do have more to get through, but I'll pause and I'll just allow a couple more minutes before I go through some of the other slides and some of the other information that I think will be helpful. So feel free to keep submitting those questions. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up the slides portion. I am going to go through some of the support options that are available to us and that are available to you. So I already talked about how you can access support. The best way to reach out to us are via those support tickets. And you can submit a support ticket either within Amplifund itself by going into the icon toolbar or your user drop-down menu. Or you can also reach out to support@amplifund.zendesk.com. So if you wanted to just submit an email with your question, then if you submit it to support@amplifund.zendesk.com, then that'll create a support ticket. Again, the support hours, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time. And we have a 2-hour turnaround on those tickets. So keep that in mind. Also, we have access to the support portal that I mentioned before. And here in the next slide, I'll kind of talk to you about how you log in. Another thing to keep in mind here, these are all the supported browsers. So refer to this list and just kind of keep that in mind as well. I always use Chrome. Amplifund I find works best on either Google Chrome or Firefox. So if you have the ability to use those, I would definitely recommend it. If it is your first time logging into our support site, amplifund.zendesk.com, which it very well may be, then you're going to want to go to amplifund.zendesk.com. You will have to sign up for the support site. You'll have to enter in your name and your email address. I would recommend using the same name and email address that you use to log into Amplifund. You'll complete the I'm not a robot check mark and click the sign up button. You'll receive a welcome email from support@zendesk.com, and you'll be able to click the link in there and to set up a password. Once you're all signed up, you'll have access to our support site and you'll be able to log in and view some of those things that we mentioned. Again, I wanted to talk about some of the reference materials that you have available that you'll be able to see in there. So in our support site, you'll specifically have the recipient user guide. You'll be receiving an email with this PowerPoint slide, a recording of the session, and a user guide that is specific to what you need to do in your Amplifund account. So you'll be receiving that separately. And then if you look at the helpful URLs here at the bottom, the last URL is on the Nebraska DED website. You follow this link and there's going to be helpful information for the CCCFF program that's going to be posted there as well. Here we have the ne.amplifund.com is the way to log in to your Amplifund account. And you'll also be able to reach out to our support site at amplifund.zendesk.com. I appreciate everyone's time today. I'm just going to hang on the line for a little while longer. If anyone else has any questions, be happy to address those, and we'll be back with any answers. But that's the end of the presentation. So please feel free to stick around and ask some questions. We'll hang around for a little while longer. But again, be on the lookout for those emails that are coming through Amplifund. And then you'll also be receiving an email from Jenny with the materials that you'll need. The recording of today's session, the PowerPoint slides, as well as the user documentation. So I'll wait for more questions, but if there aren't any questions, then I wanted to thank everyone for their time today. I really appreciate everyone participating, and congratulations on the 2020 awards. So we did have one question that I hope I can try to clear up. In terms of the designation of responsibilities when we're adding users and adding that recipient grant manager, I would have anybody in your organization that you want to have access to the award information should be added as a user. That recipient grant manager field that we saw there, that should be the main point of contact for DED for the post-award side. So that recipient grant manager is going to be the individual that receives a lot of the automatic notifications of when Jenny approves something, when she rejects something. So whoever is kind of the primary user, to use that term, I would have that person being the recipient grant manager. And then when we're adding users, anyone else that you want to have and provide visibility into the award, add those users in accordingly. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today. If you do have questions, feel free to let us know and be on the lookout for the email that's going to come with the recording, the PowerPoint slides, and the user guides. Again, I really appreciate everyone making the time to join us today, and congratulations on the 2020 CCCFF Award. Thank you all so much.